It appears that Brittany and Jax are still involved romantically. The latest podcast confirms this quite clearly. Jax mentioned, "The other day you said, 'Should we have sex?' To which Brittany responded, 'Oh gosh, of course you're going to tell everyone that.'" They no longer refer to themselves as separated, but say the relationship is in a peculiar place. Jax also expressed hope for birthday luck, with lots of giggling and flirting. It seems the guy Brittany mentioned sleeping with for 4 months is indeed Jax, which is disappointing. It seems she's resigned to this situation and accepts how he treats her. I could practically hear Brittany saying, "Oh gosh," in her voice as I read it. Lol, I don't understand the hold Jax has over her. She's choosing to stay willingly. She chose this. She could have had her own strong, independent storyline like Ariana, but instead, she repeatedly stands by Jax despite overwhelming evidence suggesting otherwise. She's not a victim, she's a co-conspirator. My reference to Ariana is when Jax cheated on Brittany before they got married and spoke badly about her on tape. Despite the cast and fans supporting her, she decided to stick with her POS. I suspect this separation was to preempt news about Jax being involved with others. They might claim they weren't together at the time to avoid calling it cheating. Brittany might blame the other woman, saying she's seeking attention or is trash for being with him in their home. Then they'll likely get back together as if nothing happened. While I want her to be strong and avoid him, she's the same woman who stayed after hearing that awful audio with Faith. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not very optimistic. Jax also claims that editing makes him look worse and doesn't show what Brittany says to him, which doesn't sound like genuine remorse. Interestingly, I saw something on TikTok from Steph with Date Eats. I'm not sure if I can share links here, but in her latest video, someone DM'd her with a picture from Jax's bed and screenshots of texts where he talks about loving to eat someone's ass and toes, along with a selfie. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Spill Chronicles. It's me, Ramona, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. However, Luke, if you're not okay, blink twice. Anyone willing to give up 70 acres in Colorado for this deserves whatever's coming to them, lol. I love Kristen, but I don't support Luke. I think having a child with him could be the worst decision she could make. You're not ready for marriage, but you're ready for a whole kid? Yeah, that's likely to go well. It's Kristen, sure, but think about what kind of guy tries to get someone pregnant and start a family when neither plans to move states. It doesn't add up. This storyline is a disaster. The conversation with the therapist, money, have you discussed it? No, not really. Living, have you decided where to raise your child? Laughs, not yet. I burst out laughing. What kind of planning is that? What strain of weed did you smoke before making those decisions? Seriously, lol. On the other hand, Jax is up to his usual antics, this time in their shared bed. Let's dive into it. I wouldn't be surprised if Jax hooked up with half the catering staff, a bartender, and even the clown at his son's birthday party. Let's face it, anyone who thinks there was a single moment in that relationship where Jax wasn't cheating on Britt is kidding themselves. Anyone who hooks up with Jax reminds me of that Parks and Rec episode where Shauna the reporter says, "I just think I can fix him," about the councilman constantly embroiled in sex scandals. Remember what he did to Brittany the season before they got married? He treated her terribly, dumped her, and then came back with a redemption arc when all of his friends turned their backs on him. This season, she left because his behavior towards her and Cruz was so awful. Meanwhile, he's moving on with the Toms and Hoes of America, sleeping with anything that moves. He claims to be a sex addict, but only had sex twice last year. Something doesn't add up. Next season, he'll likely still be stringing her along for ratings. It's messed up. I'll never understand what drives someone to want to sleep with men like Jax, but I do appreciate that she humbled herself so deeply for our entertainment. To whoever you are, girl, I promise you can do better. Okay, we all know Jack sucks. No news there. But the real issue here is this woman who sleeps with a married guy, takes pictures in his bed, and then publicly blasts him as if she's somehow above it all. Girl, seriously? Who raised you? You're just as bad as him, and posting intimate texts like that is just gross. It's almost like revenge porn. Releasing texts in a public spat is one thing, but this was uncalled for. Has social media really killed the concepts of shame and decency this much? However, Lala just shouts and curses without making good points most of the time. Lol. When she's prepared with multiple takes and producer input for talking heads and episodes, she's okay about half the time. But put her on the spot at a reunion, and she comes off as out of touch. Like with her "I'm creating life" spiel. Girl, stop trying to act special. On the other hand, Paige consistently delivers good talking heads and appropriate responses in episodes. However, she tends to go too hard at reunions. The Lindsay hate in particular lost me this time. Lala lacks wit and cleverness. I'd say a fairer matchup would be Paige versus Katie, while Lala versus Lindsay seems more fitting. Lala just talks louder than everyone else without making much sense. Katie, like Paige, is sharp-witted and articulate. That would be a balanced matchup. But imagine if Katie and Paige teamed up. Now that would be a powerhouse duo capable of dominating everyone. Additionally, so now, more than a year later, what struck me in the article was her sympathy for Ariana, whom she's suing, because Ariana gets mentioned on the podcast frequently, similar to how Rachel is brought up on Vanderpump Rules. First of all, Rachel is rarely mentioned, whereas Ariana is a primary focus for Rachel. To be honest, when this all began, I never expected that over a year later Rachel would refuse to return to the show to move on, instead using her platform solely to discuss this incident for the next 2 years. If she stops talking about it, no one will care about anything else she has to say. That's the reality. She doesn't seem to have much substance beyond this issue, from what I've seen of her. I assume someone on her team finally advised her to stop discussing it. Normally, I just scroll past her nonsense, but this is laughable. In another part of the article, she claims, "I don't need to talk about Ariana any more than I deem necessary to get my point across." Girl, your point is already clear. I'm guessing her lawyers instructed her to cease discussing Ariana because it conflicted with what was stated in her lawsuit. Rachel appears to disregard the serious, long-term consequences of her actions. She has a pending lawsuit against Ariana. If it isn't dismissed and Ariana maintains her steadfast stance against bullies and refuses any token settlement, Rachel could be discussing Ariana for the next 2 to 5 years. There will be depositions, interrogatories, and it will all become public record eventually. Rachel seems to want to portray herself as both a victim and an aggressor, using therapy jargon and double talk to deflect attention from her deliberate actions. Has her therapist explained how consistently toxic and destructive behaviors lead to negative outcomes? Deflection may be a defense mechanism, but without accepting responsibility, emotional well-being, and a purposeful life may remain out of reach. Moreover, upon rewatching the show recently, I was struck by how much misogyny I missed the first time around. Initially, I perceived Kristen as unhinged and was relieved when Tom moved on from her. Katie seemed a bit erratic, and Schwartz appeared easygoing and nice. Ariana and Tom's relationship seemed solid, and of course, Jax was always himself. However, during my rewatch, I noticed that in earlier seasons, the men were mostly background characters. The focus was primarily on the women, and Jax, with occasional scenes showing the men calmly dismissing them as crazy. It wasn't until the men became more central that their true behavior became apparent. Tom's fixation on multiple orgasms and constant complaints about sex revealed a lot. The incident with the cocktail book was particularly off-putting. Schwartz consistently let down, mocked, and belittled his wife while struggling even to handle his duties at the bar. I found myself more interested in watching the dynamics among the women, something I felt was lacking in later seasons. Reflecting on it, I think many of us initially overlooked the misogyny in shows like this and Jersey Shore because society's attitudes toward women and how they were portrayed were different then. It's still problematic, but attitudes in the 2010s were particularly egregious. It's structural. Misogyny was ingrained in our culture throughout the 2000s and 2010s. Women who asserted themselves were often seen as difficult or labeled as bitches. I'm glad younger generations are more aware and hopefully pushing for changes in these systemic attitudes. On the other hand, I'm rewatching the Season 11 reunion from the end of March and seeing Ariana on Love Island USA, which I think she filmed last month, is just stunning. Her makeup on Love Island completely enhances her facial features and makes her glow compared to her usual look and the reunion makeup. The makeup artist who works with her on Love Island deserves serious recognition for their perfection. Also, her hairstylist and stylist deserve equal praise because her entire look on the show is flawless. It's just perfection. I also feel Ariana seems much happier on Love Island compared to the reunion. While her team always makes her look fabulous, the biggest difference for me is how she's radiating happiness and glowing on the show. However, I'm currently midway through the first season of The Valley, and I have to say, it's a fantastic show. As a fan of Vanderpump Rules, VPR, it's satisfying to see former castmates transition into new roles where they face challenges more reflective of millennials at this stage of life. While it's still messy reality TV, The Valley stands out because it tackles real, relatable issues. From Nia openly discussing postpartum depression to Michelle navigating her marriage, and everyone dealing with family and adult responsibilities, it's genuine drama. Comparing it to the Housewives franchise, which I also enjoy for its escapism, VPR, and especially The Valley offer a different appeal. Their drama hits closer to home, focusing on issues that resonate with me and my friends. Although these personalities live a more affluent lifestyle than mine, their storylines feel more grounded and relevant. I hope to see more reality shows that delve into these kinds of personal, relatable narratives. Perhaps my perspective will evolve as I continue watching the season, but for now, I'm thoroughly enjoying The Valley. Additionally, Rachel+Lala's lawsuit raises questions about the specific details she presented, which contradict what she disclosed on her podcast. On the podcast, she described how Ariana found out, aligning with accounts from both Ariana and Tom. However, in her lawsuit, Rachel claimed she already knew. This discrepancy is crucial and raises issues of credibility in court. It would be strategic for Ariana's attorney to utilize the podcasts as evidence against Rachel, highlighting any inconsistencies to undermine her case. If the lawsuit proceeds to trial instead of being dismissed on Ariana's pretrial motion, the courtroom setting offers advantages. Rachel, as the plaintiff, bears the burden of proving her claims and demonstrating monetary damages. Witnesses, including Rachel herself, would undergo cross-examination under oath, where any prior inconsistent statements could be exposed. Additionally, there's curiosity about potential countersuits or cross-suits among the defendants in the ongoing civil case. Regarding Tom's actions in recording her, they have been widely criticized as inappropriate. However, several months ago, TMZ reported on a screenshot allegedly from the recording. This raised eyebrows, suggesting it may have originated from someone in Rachel's circle, which seems unusual. The presence of such screenshots prompts questions about their purpose and origin. Moreover, watching season 9 with the hindsight that Tom and Katie eventually divorce, it's evident that Tom Sandoval played a significant role in their marital issues. His consistent belittling of both Katie and Schwartz created numerous problems in their relationship. While the underlying issues were likely present and could have led to divorce regardless, Sandoval's behavior exacerbated tensions and, in my opinion, strained 3 relationships within just 2 seasons. Schwartz, as an adult, bears full responsibility for his actions. However, his close friendship with Sandoval, who openly criticized and publicly argued with Katie, undoubtedly influenced him. Towards the end of season 9, Sandoval even told Schwartz that he would rather end their friendship than be cordial to Katie. Less than a year later, they were divorced. While Sandoval isn't solely to blame for their breakup, his actions certainly contributed significantly to their deteriorating relationship. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.